exactly why we're here. You know why you're here. You know why I'm sitting right here. It's because we are super deep into playoff time. I'm not talking about CFP. No, because that hadn't even started, so you know that's out from the get-go. We are in FCS D2, D3 playoffs, and we're here to talk all about it. We're here to preview some games coming up tonight, tomorrow. I mean, we're here to talk about them all, and it's a huge weekend. We got Celebration Bowl on Saturday. That's the HBCU National Championship game. We've got FCS quarterfinals, 1 on Friday, 3 on Saturday. Division II semifinals. The national championship is next weekend. You win and you're in a natty. Those are the stakes we're talking about here. And D3, we're in quarterfinals there as well. We're getting close, folks. We're getting close to some national championships being awarded, being won. And we're here for it. You are on pad level. My name is Jake McKenzie. And if you're looking for some playoff talk, you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Before we get started on the nuts and bolts of what we're doing here today, I want to politely ask you to subscribe to the podcast, interact with the podcast. All right. Also, there are a couple new things that have happened. We have a Pad Level TikTok account. It's not my TikTok account, Pad Level's TikTok account. We're about to get that thing rolling. We've got Pad Level X account or Twitter account. So go hit them up. Pad Level JM at Pad Level JM. The letters JM at the end. And we're hoping to get some really good content out through those medias. So go follow them. Go check them out. I'll go and tell you now, not much on them now, but we're working on it. Honestly, they were just made last night and today. So work with us. We're about to load it up. So go check it out. So that way you're already following it when it starts being posted, and boom, it's on your feed like that. All right. It's on your feed like that. So we're going to start off. We usually talk about the coaching carousel. Not a whole lot that I've seen has gone on in the FCS here lately as far as head coaches go. There's one big one that's happened recently, probably mentioned it an episode or two back. Mike Jacobs, Mercer's head football coach, has left Mercer and has now taken the Toledo head coaching job. So that adds a vacancy to the FCS coaching pool. As we know, as we talked about, Mercer's last game they played was a second-round playoff game where they had to bye in the first round, a home playoff game, and they lost to South Dakota, the Coyotes, 47-0. And that knocked them swiftly out of the playoffs. So, not a great way to end your time at Mercer, but he jumped up to the FBS, or G5, Toledo, which is a great G5 program. So you got to give it to him. It's good for him. Who's going to take the job? I don't know. Brian Bohannon? I don't know. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. And like I said, I've not heard of any more additions of coaches in the FCS realm that we haven't talked about already. So there's your one coaching tidbit right there. We're going to jump right into FCS, into the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs. I already mentioned it to you the last FCS D2, D3 episode. Celebration Bowl on Saturday. South Carolina State at Prairie View A&M. On Friday night, this is the playoffs now. Friday night, Stephen F. Austin goes to Montana State for a night game on Friday. Villanova goes to Tarleton State on Saturday. South Dakota goes to Montana on Saturday. Illinois State goes to UC Davis on Saturday. This will eventually end up, the national championship used to be in Frisco, Texas. Now it is in Nashville, Tennessee. I think it's First Bank Stadium, wherever Vanderbilt plays. It's something Bank Stadium. New venue. Pretty exciting, different, different scenery, all that stuff. Now, one big thing about the FCS playoffs that we mentioned before also, the number 1 seed, North Dakota State, is out. They are out of the picture. They have lost. Okay. Also, the number 14 seed, this, may say, why are you talking about 14 seed? South Dakota State has also lost. So both Dakota State schools are out. North Dakota was in this thing, and they lost last weekend to Tarleton State pretty handily. So the only Dakota team you've got in the playoffs is University of South Dakota. The Montana teams are usually pretty good. Montana State are also still in it. And they've got home games, and if they win, they will play next weekend in the semifinal. With North Dakota State and South Dakota State out, Montana beat South Dakota State last weekend. These Montana schools are thinking, this is our year. We have got to go get it done. And they will see each other next week if they both win. All right? So let's jump into these games. So let's talk about the playoff games first. We'll get to Celebration Bowl last. That's a national championship, baby. We'll talk about that when we get done with the playoff games. So what we've got here is this. We'll talk about Stephen F. Austin, Montana State. That one is 8 p.m. on Friday, which is tonight, probably when this is getting posted. Tonight, okay? Montana State, their rushing attack is super good. Their quarterback's a great athlete. He can do a lot of things, okay? Stephen F. Austin, they have the third best run defense in FCS, and they are only allowing 87.8 yards a game. 88 yards a game. All right. That's pretty solid. If you're only giving up 88 rush yards a game, you're probably feeling pretty good. Okay. So Montana State, their rushing attack is on the shoulders of these two cats, Julius Davis and Adam Jones. And they're going to be going up against these two great defensive players at Stephen F. Austin. Linebacker, Jaden Southard, I don't know how you say it, and defensive tackle, Kai Thomas. All right. Both of those dudes on defense got a lot of tackles for loss. All right. Now, these teams have played before. They played 6 times, I'm seeing. Montana State is leading the series 4-2. And not only that, when Montana State is at home, they're 3-0. So now, with Montana State and Montana, both of them, when they play at home, they have a super big advantage. Their home field advantage is huge. I know Montana State's personally. Fans come out they show up at Montana State, Montana. I know it's the same with the Dakotas, but Montana is a huge home field advantage when they play at home. Stephen F. Austin, coming in as a 7th seed, beat Abilene Christian last weekend to get to this point in a close game. Montana State played Yale last weekend. It was very close, 21-13. All right, everybody thought it was going to be way more than that. Montana State is a 12.5-point favorite in this game. I think that's too much. I do think it's too much, but I think that Montana State is going to be too much for Stephen F. Austin. I'm taking Montana State, but I'm going to take it plus 12.5. Okay? Plus 12.5. I'm making sure I've got this down so you can check me on it. Plus 12.5, Stephen F. Austin, but Montana State wins, I'm going to say by about 10-ish. Okay? So there's your first game. That's your Friday night game. Then we move to Saturday. 3 great games on Saturday. Villanova at Tarleton State. Villanova is going to go all the way over to Texas, okay? And we're talking about this game. Okay. This is just kind of a little side note here. This is Tarleton State's first ever game to be broadcast on a main ESPN network. It's going to be on ESPN, which is a pretty big deal. Now, Villanova, they started the season off slow. They're 1-2, but then they won 10 straight, or have won 10 straight, and that includes 2 playoff games. Handled Harvard 52-7. Play Lehigh, who had the bye. They were the 5 seed, Lehigh was, and they went to Lehigh and beat them. So they're on a good little stretch here. But Lehigh kind of outplayed Villanova. But Villanova ended up winning the game 14-7. Now, Tarleton State has been pretty freaking dominant all year. They started the season off on fire. Had the loss there in the middle of the year to Abilene Christian, and then won out the rest of the games. Tarleton State is a solid football team. Their offense is dynamic. They have a running game that is completely elite. Tylen Hines, their running back, is a stud. Run lots of RPOs. I mean, I think most of their plays are RPOs. Okay, so they're possibly giving the ball off to Tylen Hines. I think they got another running back too, but Tylen Hines is the main guy most of the time, and they're gashing people. So, also, the defense of Tarleton State is very good, very stout. I know they're at home. Villanova's going a long way, but I'm going Tarleton State. Golly. I'm going Tarleton State. This is also a 12.5 point favorite. But here's the difference on this one. I'm taking Tarleton State minus 12.5. I think they're going to cover that. I think they'll win by a couple touchdowns, maybe 17 even. So I'm going to go minus 12.5 for Tarleton State. This team will play the winner of the Illinois State UC Davis game. So let's go to the UC Davis game. Okay. Let's see here. UC Davis, where'd it go? There it is. All right. So UC Davis is they're a 2.5 point favorite. Okay. Now, as we know last week, Illinois State upset North Dakota State last weekend by a point, going for 2 at the end of the game to win it. Now, last year, Illinois State went to UC Davis. So this will be the second straight year that they're going to UC Davis to play. Second straight year. So will there be a little bit of familiarity? Possibly. Illinois State's riding high, obviously, going off of the North Dakota State game. Okay. Illinois State's defense has intercepted 17 passes this year. 17 interceptions for them on the year, which is pretty freaking good. Tied 4th most in the FCS. And now this is just in Illinois State's wins. They have a plus 20 turnover margin. That's pretty solid. Now, UC Davis, first of all, their quarterback, Pinnock, he's a stud. He can run and he can throw. He's a very good athlete, very good football player. He's a young cat too. He's young. He's got a lot of potential. He's got a long way to go. A lot of success to be had. How about that? I shouldn't say it a long way to go. Let's see. UC Davis is looking for their first ever semifinal berth. They'd never made it past the quarterfinal level. So, with all that being said, UC Davis at home, Illinois State's heading over there. Illinois State's riding on a super big upset of North Dakota State, of avenging their loss to North Dakota State in the season. And obviously, North Dakota State's number 1 seed. Everybody loves North Dakota State. They're the top seed. Okay. Um, UC Davis is going to win the game. Now, this point spread obviously is 2.5. I'm going to pick UC Davis to cover. I don't think Illinois State's going to be able to stop UC Davis like they did North Dakota State. And I know that sounds crazy, but UC Davis does more offensively from what I've seen, and it's going to be tougher for them to match it. I think it's not a good matchup for Illinois State, and that's why I'm going to go UC Davis minus 2.5. All right. And I know you're probably saying, oh, you're just picking all the home teams, all the higher seeds or lower seeds, I should say. Well, just listen, okay? Just let me pick the games and we'll talk about it. Last game that we're going to talk about, South Dakota goes to Montana. South Dakota State just went to Montana. Now South Dakota's going to Montana. Montana's a 7.5 point favorite. That's what they're looking at. Montana's coming off of a drumming of South Dakota State. They beat them 50-29 or 21 or 24 or something. They scored 50, the old 50 burger, some people like to call it. I like to call it that. This game will be on ABC at 3:30 Eastern on Saturday, 2:30 Central. First time that there's ever going to be a game, and the stadium is called Washington Grizzly Stadium. I think they call it WaGriz for short. First time that a game there is going to be on ABC. It's pretty big. It's pretty special. Now, the quarterback for South Dakota, Aiden Bowman, he's thrown a touchdown in 12 of 14 games. All right, they're super hot right now. They are hot as a team can be in the playoffs. Okay, they finished the season super hot, and they're still rolling. Okay, there's a stat here. When South Dakota is leading at halftime, they have a 4-2 record against their opponents this year. 4-2, that's 4 out of 6. Montana and South Dakota have played 20 times, and Montana is leading the series 14-6. But here's the cool stat. I would have never thought this. They've never met in the playoffs. Never. I figured at least once. So as many times as these teams been in the playoffs, they never met. Montana has a running back, Eli Gilman, absolute stud. Their quarterback's last name is Ayat, a stud. Okay, we just talked about South Dakota's quarterback, Aiden Bowman. I don't know, one of the two, and he is a stud. He's been good all year. I think it's going to come down to defense here. All right, South Dakota's shown recently they can score a lot of points. They put up 47 on Mercer and stopped Mercer. Didn't let them score any points. Montana has been a force all season, and they're always a force. They're traditionally a force, and they're favored by 7.5. Give me Montana minus 7.5. Montana is going to go get it done in, you know what they call it, WaGriz. And I'm not picking any upsets here. That's probably bad. I've got all 4 teams favored winning, but now Stephen F. Austin, I got them covering, so that maybe helps my deal, but could be dangerous. But those are your 4 playoff games. Now we'll get into the HBCU National Championship game, the Celebration Bowl. That is South Carolina State versus Prairie View A&M. This is going to be in Atlanta. This is going to be in the Mercedes-Benz Dome there in Atlanta. South Carolina State is a minus 1.5 or 1.5 point favorite. Prairie View is another one of those teams who's on an absolute roll. They played Jackson State in the SWAC championship last week and beat them. Okay, here's the difference in what these teams are going through and about to show up for. So South Carolina State is in the MEAC. They finished their season and haven't played a game until today, or excuse me, Saturday, which their last game would have been the weekend before Thanksgiving. So that's 3 weeks you're not playing. On the other hand, Prairie View A&M just played a game last weekend. They're not going on this long wait time. And they just won a game, and they're feeling pretty confident. And the spread is 1.5 both ways. And Prairie View and A&M is plus 1.5. And I'll tell you exactly where I'm going with this one. Is I'm going with Tremaine Jackson, the head coach, and Prairie View A&M to win outright. So I'm going plus 1.5 for Prairie View A&M. They're going to get it done. They beat Jackson State. I think the SWAC is probably stronger than the MEAC overall, and I do think that Prairie View A&M is going to go get it done and go win the Celebration Bowl. There's your FCS slate for the weekend. Now, let's talk about Division II. Okay? We got to talk about Division II, and I know you want to, and we're going to. Now, we're in the semifinals here. These are big time ball games here. 2 games. I'm going to tell you what time they play. They're going to be on Saturday. They're going to be on December 13th. And I'm going to tell you that Newberry plays Ferris State at Ferris State. These are all home playoff games. Newberry goes to Ferris State, and they're going to play at 12 p.m. Eastern. 11 p.m. Central. So they got the early game. Then you've got Harding at Kutztown at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. All right. I've talked about the Newberry Wolves all freaking year, and for good reason. Newberry has rolled through the SAC conference, and now they are rolling through the playoffs. Beat Albany State last weekend. So now you've got Newberry going all the way up to Ferris State, who is a juggernaut in Division II. Okay? So I'm going to give you some stats here. Difference in the two. Now, Ferris State is freaking good. All right? You know that. Trinidad Chambliss came from there. They're really freaking good. Now, scoring offense. These are the differences in these two teams. Scoring offense. Ferris State scores 53.8 points a game. You heard that right. 53.8 points a game. Newberry scores 31.9. Ferris State gives up an average of 19 points a game. Newberry gives up an average of 23 points a game. Total offense, Ferris State's 515. This is per game. Newberry's 379. Ferris State gives up 168 a game. Newberry gives up 355 a game. All right. Ferris State's thrown 8 interceptions. Newberry's thrown 7. And Ferris State has forced 25 interceptions. So they've caught 25 interceptions on defense to Newberry's 13. 14 fumble recoveries for Ferris State, 6 for Newberry. Ferris State has sacked the opposing team 35 times, and Newberry's 26. The numbers are telling you, pick Ferris State. They are the easy pick. They're the big dogs. Just go ahead and pick Ferris State. But I will not do it. Newberry's the only not 1 seed. They're the only team who's not a 1 seed in the playoffs left. And they beat the other 1 seed last week in Albany State in Albany. The national championship is in McKinney, Texas, McKinney ISD Stadium in Texas. And I'll tell you this right now, Newberry's going to be there. Coach Cole Watson, the OC there, they're going to be dicing them up. Defense is going to hold just enough. Give me Newberry by 3. Newberry goes and scores a touchdown late. They're down 4. They got to score a touchdown in the last quarter to go win the game and go to McKinney, Texas next weekend, December 20th, to go play in a national championship game. Give me Newberry. Give me Newberry. Coach Watson, don't let me down, brother. Get in that freaking game, dog. All right. The team who will meet Newberry in the national championship is going to be between Harding and Kutztown. Both teams are very, very good football teams. Traditionally, very good Division II football teams. Okay, so I'm going to give you some stats here for these two. These teams are very similar. I'll go ahead and tell you that. Scoring offense. Harding 44.7, Kutztown 44.1. Scoring defense, Harding 9.6. 9.6. Kutztown 11.6. Total offense, Harding 487, Kutztown 431. Total defense, Harding 248, Kutztown 260. Both teams have only thrown one interception all season. One each. That's unbelievable. Harding has caught 15 interceptions. Kutztown's caught 12. Fumble recoveries, Harding's recovered 9. Kutztown's recovered 8. And then you've got Harding has sacked the quarterback 30 times. Kutztown sacked the quarterback 39 times. Now, the numbers are very similar. Harding, each week in the playoffs, has given up more points than they've given up all season. So, all season, make sure I got my numbers right here, they gave up less than 16 points in a game. The first round, they gave up 16. Round 2, they gave up 21. And round 3, against UT Permian Basin, they gave up 28. It makes you think that the better the team gets, the more they're going to give up. All right? Now, the equalizer. Not only the equalizer, but an offense that they have run to a T. Harding Bisons. They're the Bisons. And North Dakota State's the Bison. No S at the end. Just a little tidbit for you to know. I know you were wondering that. They run a triple option. Under center, flex bone, triple option. And you know that I freaking love it. And I'm not going to stop. So quit asking. I think that is going to be the equalizer. I call it equalizer. I don't know why I keep calling that. That's going to be the difference in the game. Is the triple option, take up a lot of time, and it may not. It may just be explosive, scoring a lot of points, which they've done a good amount this year. As you see, scoring 44 points a game. Give me Harding. Harding's going to win the football game. Kutztown's going to have trouble stopping the offense, and Harding's defense is going to step up. That defense giving up 9.6 points per game. They're going to step up. They're going to get it done. Harding wins and meets Newberry, my gosh, in McKinney, Texas. I can't wait. I may drive over. That's a long way. I don't know. All right. Now we're going to jump Division III. The Division III National Championship is in Canton, Ohio. What's it called? Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Now, this is going to be on January 4th. FCS Championships on January 5th in Nashville. This one's in Canton, Ohio on January 4th. And we've got some absolute heaters for games. Okay? Now, we're going to start off with, my favorite game of the year. And that's going to be, or not my favorite game of the year, my favorite team in Division III. And that's going to be John Carroll at Berry. Berry is hosting a quarterfinals playoff game. It's got to be for the first time in their school history. John Carroll goes to Berry. Berry's head coach, Tony Konchesky. My guy. Berry beat Trinity last weekend. Basically a conference game. It was a conference game, but it's just the playoffs. They beat them. That's the second time in this season they've beaten them. And now they've got to host John Carroll in Rome, Georgia. And folks, I don't have to give you any stats, and I'm not going to. Okay? They're going to go win the game. Berry is going to go beat John Carroll and make it to the semifinals of the playoffs. Okay? Berry beats John Carroll and moves on to the semis. Will they host the semifinals? They might. Next one, we got Susquehanna is going to Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins. All right. Johns Hopkins, their claim to fame is the defense. All right. Obviously, both of these teams have had great playoff runs. Okay. Johns Hopkins, I think, has been here more often than Susquehanna, but that doesn't always mean anything. Okay. It's at Johns Hopkins. That's in Baltimore, Maryland. But I'm going to go Susquehanna. Susquehanna. They're rolling right now. Offense is rolling. Defense has been stout. Give me Susquehanna to win the football game, move on to the semis. Another great game. Bethel in Minnesota, Bethel University is going to North Central. North Central is the top dog in Division III right now. Bethel, offensive coordinator, Colin Dooling, is running up scores every single weekend. I coach with him. I know the offensive scheme he's running. That dude is super cerebral. He is smart as it gets. He's very organized. And he's going to have the boys ready to rock and roll. And so, North Central, I'm sorry. The title run ends on Saturday. Bethel University, they're going to run it up offensively. Defense is going to hold you just enough. W for Bethel. And they're going to make it to the semifinals. Last game, we got Wheaton at Wisconsin River Falls. Wheaton has had a heck of a run. All right. I believe they played DePaul last weekend and beat them. They're going up to Wisconsin, River Falls in Wisconsin. It's going to be cold up there. I don't know what the weather is. I know it's cold here in North Carolina. Gosh darn, it's cold here. I mean, it was 20 degrees today. I ain't cut out for all that. But the boys in Wisconsin are. And now, I'm not saying Wheaton is not, but Wisconsin, River Falls, the only Wisconsin team left standing, give me River Falls. Give me Wisconsin, River Falls to go win the game, get to the semis, and they might get to the Natty, depending on who they play in the semis. I guess I could say that about any team in the semifinals. That was a stupid comment. But that's what we've got there. That's who we're favoring in the D3 playoffs. All right? And we have gone through every FCS game coming up, every D2 game, every D3 game. Now, listen, this is what I want you to do. If you're here watching this, you're a sicko. You freaking love college football, man. And that means I freaking love you. I want you to go and comment on this. Go to the Twitter account. Go to TikTok. All right? And say, hey, you were wrong. You were right. This is a big-time game. I'm excited about this, blah, blah, blah. And let me know what it is. All right? And we can interact. We can talk back and forth, man. That's what this thing's all about. Okay? So, let me know what you think. D3, D2, FCS, whatever. Let me know, dude. Because I would love to have some interaction. I'd love to. We've got some already. The more, the merrier. And it's Christmas time. Merrier. More the merrier. We're trying to be merrier to Christmas season. Let's make everybody merry. And let's have a great time here. Listen, thank you for being here and watching and listening to this episode. If you're here listening and watching this one, man, you are paying attention to college football and you're my kind of freaking guy. You're going to be, if you're here, you're probably going to be watching Army Navy. You're going to be watching some FCS playoff games Friday night, which is probably the night for you if you're watching. And Saturday, you can watch some D2 on Saturday and some D3 on Saturday. You're going to be watching it all. And probably Celebration Bowl. You can be watching every bit of it. And it's as good as it gets. So thank you for being here. Man, I appreciate it. And listen, we'll be back again. So all I ask, keep your eyes up, keep your pads low. Check out the Twitter and the TikTok. And I'll see you later. Have a great weekend of college football, baby.